A new book was officially released from Timothy Zahn simply titled Thrawn, giving us more insight into the new canonized version of Grand Admiral Thrawn. Before I begin talking about this subject, please be warned that if you don't want events spoiled from this book, then please leave this video and maybe consider watching some of my other videos. This book gives us the details of how Thrawn came to be introduced to the Emperor and how his imperial career started, down to the last pages where Thrawn is promoted to Grand Admiral and is introduced to Darth Vader for the very first time. Speaking of Darth Vader, we have seen both him and Thrawn in the Rebel series, however not both at one time. We do see that Thrawn finally gets introduced to Vader by Emperor Palpatine. This to me begs the question, since Thrawn is such a pragmatist and deduces things to its origins, was he ever able to find out that Darth Vader was actually the former Jedi known as Anakin Skywalker? In the book itself, we find out for the very first time that during the Republic era, Thrawn, then known as Mithra Nurodo, met Anakin Skywalker. He is very vague about the subject, only saying that he met the Jedi during interesting times. When Thrawn is first introduced to the Emperor, in clear Thrawn fashion, he immediately presents himself to the Emperor as a valuable asset that Palpatine could use, letting him know that his knowledge of the unknown regions would help him prepare for the threat that one day will find the Empire. Now, in Legends we know the threat that came to the Empire from the unknown regions was the Yuuzhan Vong. Is this what Thrawn is referring to here? Will the Yuuzhan Vong be reintroduced and become part of canon just as Thrawn did? It will be interesting to find out what this threat ends up being in the near future. Now, Thrawn has the Emperor intrigued, although Palpatine still plays coy with the young Chiss male. However, the most interesting part of this conversation comes at the end. When Emperor Palpatine presses Thrawn about trust and allegiance, Thrawn boldly states in front of the Emperor that his word is his allegiance, and that his servant could attest to how strong is the vow of Thrawn. The Emperor is left puzzled, asks Thrawn of what servant he's referring to, the name of that servant. Thrawn reveals the name as Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker, mentioning that the Jedi Anakin Skywalker spoke highly of then Chancellor Palpatine. Palpatine, as usually, tries to maintain his poise, and Thrawn asks the Emperor if Jedi Skywalker survived, to which Palpatine responds with a fabricated sadness, telling him that in fact he did not. He had died at the Jedi Temple. When Thrawn described Anakin Skywalker as cunning and courageous, Palpatine agreed, stating that indeed his young friend Anakin was a courageous Jedi. This is a typical conversation with Thrawn. Indeed, here we get to see that even with the most powerful being in the galaxy, he still can hold his own and manipulate his way into getting answers even from the devious Palpatine. Now, even though it is not clear if Thrawn has definitely concluded by now that Anakin is indeed Vader, I present you with the example of Governor Tarkin. In this instance, both of them have basically the same position when it comes to Vader. Same as Thrawn, Tarkin himself knew Anakin when he was a Jedi. It is revealed in the Tarkin novel that by observing the rapport the Dark Lord shared with the stormtroopers who supported him and the technique he displayed in wielding his crimson lightsaber, Tarkin grew more and more convinced that Vader might very well be the Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker. Now, I'm not going to sit here and make you decide who is more smarter and insightful, Tarkin or Thrawn. However, if Tarkin was able to deduce the real identity of Vader, then we can pretty much assume that Thrawn knew the same exact truth as Tarkin, which they both decided to keep to themselves, that Darth Vader was the fallen Jedi Anakin Skywalker who has now become a Sith Lord, and that Emperor Palpatine is his master. Alright Star Wars fans, that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you liked it, feel free to leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and don't miss out on any of my future videos that I will post on this channel. Have a fun day my friends, and in closing, don't forget, may the Force be with you always.